So in the next 3 days, you'll get to experience some of the latest brands and technology in the longevity and performance space. You'll get to experience immersions in this space, but you'll also get to connect with world-class thought leaders in health and longevity and connect with each other. In fact, if there's anyone sitting alone, please connect, because we're going to go through an experience a little bit later that involves this connection. So if you see anyone sitting alone, feel free to sit next to them. Make sure nobody is sitting too far away from other people. Okay, that's great. So we have all these choices, but the most powerful choice is one you already made. When you walk through that door, and you sat in the seat, look around. This is your tribe. You guys could have been anywhere, but you decided to come here. You made the conscious choice to say, I want to expand, I want to elevate, I want to see what's possible. And here's the truth. That conscious choice is medicine. You know, over the past couple of years, I actually had an opportunity to connect with a lot of thought leaders, experts, physicians, shamans, in films and documentary on human potential. And this time is exciting. A lot of awesome science. Regenerative medicine, stem cells, precision health. But what struck me most wasn't the tech. It was this. The remembrance that this life is beautiful. It's sacred. And we have this breath. And because we have this breath, we get to. We get to wake up this morning and walk out to the ocean. We get to connect with beautiful people. We get to try all these crazy toys here at this conference. We get to create more joy. We get to awaken more love. We get to expand the possibilities of what it means to be human because we have this life. And we get to use this beautiful gift to create a masterpiece for ourselves, for each other, and the planet. Let's take a moment to ground right now. We're going to take 3 breaths, and I invite you to close your eyes. Deep breath in through your nose. Release with a sigh. And as you release, just go ahead and release everything that you've come in with. All the thoughts, all the busyness, all the distractions. Take another breath in. Release with a sigh. And just ground into the space. Feel your feet on the floor. Be present with this time. Another deep breath in. Release with a sigh. And before you open your eyes, I want you to feel. I want you to sense what's in this space. What was the attention and intention Julia and Alexa did to create this conference? What do you feel in this space right now? Go ahead and open your eyes. Can I have a few people call out what they felt? A few things. Peace. What else? Presence. What else? Hope. This is amazing. What's that? Excitement, hope, peace. What you felt, that hope, that excitement, that peace, you were able to sense information in the field, this energy. That's what I call bioenergetic intelligence. It is not just our ability to sense, but our ability to be able to manipulate and create this energy. Now, light, sound, acoustic beds, community, laughter, experiences, they all carry energy. They all carry this information in this field. Science calls this the biofield. Each one of us has one, and we all collectively contribute to the collective biofield. And this field of information, this information interacts with our DNA, our mitochondria, people feel it. How many of you know of someone that when you're walking around and they're just all slunched over and you're just feeling their energy and you don't want to hang out with them? In-laws, anyone? I'm kidding. But also, you know of people that just are magnetic and you sense this attraction to them. So we feel that. We have scientists like Dr. Emoto and Dr. Hillman from Stanford that also demonstrates that our energy is felt by water, by plants, by physical matter. So what I want you to take away is this, that our state, our field, creates energetic information that then touches our biology and reality. But the field that we create isn't random. It's constant. It's dynamic. It's affected by our environment, but it's also affected by our choices. Unconscious by default, or conscious by devotion of how we want to show up, how we want to live life. This is the work I get to share with individuals and organizations, how to shift this energy, this biofield, so that we have more longevity, peak performance, and elevate our potential. The good news is there's many, many techniques which I will demonstrate with you today. So, quick show of hands, how many of you want to learn an easy 3-minute technique to increase your longevity, create more joy, create more laughter in your life so that you live longer and perform better? Show of hands. I invite you all to stand up. Here we go. Some of you know my work, have seen this before. This is called laughter yoga. And I know what some of you might be thinking, and if you guys were like me at all, some of you might be judging this experience. And don't worry, I was that person that judged too. There's a part of our nervous system that judges and resists. However, if you could push past the resistance and make the conscious choice to move, to phonate, to breathe, and to connect and send energy, you will receive a big biological benefit. So all you have to do is put your hands out to the side just like this. Just follow my lead. Now side to side. Now say he, ha, 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 say he, ha, 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 say he, ha, ha, ha. Throw your hands up in the air. Take a deep breath in. Then laugh on the way down. Now, the next thing I'm going to teach you is a little chant. And it is going to be like childlike play. Now, when we play, when we have fun, we turn off the part of our brain called the default mode network. We turn off the fear and stress signal, and we're actually present. So if you could play full out, try to make the next person laugh, you're going to get the biological benefit. We're going to do this. Ready? We're going to go, very good, yay! Ready to go, very good, yay! Very good, yay! The first laughter yoga exercise is called greeting laughter. So what I want you to do when I tell you is look somebody in the eye you don't know, but you're going to send them love with your energy with a laugh. And he, ha, 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 say he, ha, 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 he, ha, ha. Throw your hands in the air. Deep breath in. Laugh on the way down. The next one is milkshake laughter. And you want to make the sound effect here. You're going to follow me. We're going to go whoop, whoop, and then laugh on the way down. Ready? Whoop, 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 and very good, yay! And very good, yay! The next one is jungle laughter, and so like the king or queen of a jungle, you're going to send your energy with laughter. Ready? We go, rah, rah, rah. And he, ha, ha, say he, ha, 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 he, ha, ha. Throw your hands up, take a deep breath in, then laugh on the way down. The last one is gradient laughter. So, using my hand here as a gauge, you're going to follow your intensity and volume of the laugh as we go. Ready? Ha 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 ha. And very good, Yay! Very good, very good. Yay! Have a seat, feeling great. How do you feel? All right. Now, we're going to quickly shift this energetic state and do some 4-7-8 breathing. So you're going to breathe in through your nose for a count of 4, hold for a count of 7, then out as if you were blowing through a straw for a count of 8. Ready? 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out as if you're throwing through a straw. 7, 8. One more time. 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out. Just like that, in 2 minutes, you're able to bring your energy up and bring it right back down, grounded. You shifted your biofield in minutes and in seconds. So, I want you to imagine your life, your relationships, your business, your work as this magnificent canvas. You're the artist. With every action, with every emotion, with every thought, they're like brushstrokes, splashes of color, intricate detail, creating this masterpiece. But the art that you create doesn't just stand idly on the wall, no. It vibrates. People feel it. You're sending out signals to every strand of DNA, every mitochondria in your body, giving you access to the machinery that is human performance and longevity. But life will test you. It will distract you. Noise, social media, scarcity, fear. It will challenge you with struggles and obstacles in your health, in your relationships, in your work. And so as we sit here imagining how to elevate our individual and collective potential, let me ask you, what art are you devoted to creating? This question became very real for me back in January of 2021. I was going to be a first-time dad. A new life, a blank canvas. What art will this baby choose to create? But I wouldn't expect what would happen shortly after we took that picture. You see, the OB on call rushes into the room with an ultrasound machine and said, "You know what? We can't find the baby's heartbeat. We have to go to the operating room right now." Wait, what? No, we want a vaginal birth. Dr. Vuu, your baby will die if we don't go to the operating room right now. We go to the operating room, reluctantly. I hear the baby cry. Wah! Thank God. Dr. Vuu, you're a new dad. You want to cut the cord? Yeah. So I take out my camera. I take a selfie. Then I notice something. Looks like she's gasping for air. And I'm just trying to use daddy's love. Hey, baby. Breathe, baby. I see her oxygen's going from 90, 80 to 70 and 50. Then she stops moving. I feel her hand on my shoulder. Dr. Vuu, we have to go to the ICU now. Moments later, her OB walks in. Dr. Vuu, I found your baby with her cord wrapped around her neck and ankle. Wait, what? How long have you known this? Did she lose any oxygen? Would she have brain damage? Would she have the choice to live? My baby's okay. But in that moment, I recognized she didn't have the choice to be born that way. I also realized she might not be able to make any choices. Will she be able to choose to create art? Which is why I'm here, to remind us of the tremendous gift that is life and our breath and the power of our choices. Our choices form our biofield, conscious or unconscious. So are we conscious about the energy we bring to every moment of how we want to see life? and the messages that we're giving to ourselves, and what unconscious choices are we making that is sabotaging our health and potential. You know, as a longevity doctor and an organizational wellness expert, I'm often asked, how do our choices affect biology and reality? How is the human body like an organization or humanity? Living and breathing ecosystems. Take the ecosystem that is the human heart. It's kind of like a city itself. Much like humanity, it is made up of individual units, myocytes. And when these myocytes feel stress, all of a sudden that signal comes down and it has all these myocytes start contracting, having the heart beat faster. But how does that work? Well, these myocytes are also an ecosystem of organelles, of like the ribosome and the mitochondria. Each one of those organelles are also an ecosystem made of proteins and macromolecules. Each one an ecosystem of atoms, subatomic molecules, energy pockets. And so when that signal comes and reaches the heart cell, that energetic signal goes all the way down to the molecules, creating, again, state signal shift, a shift in biology. We could see now that the heart also is not alone. This heart works in the ecosystem with our brain, our kidneys, our lung, forming the ecosystem that is the human body. So I hope you can see when we go out with a bird's eye view that we could be seen as individual cells in the ecosystem of our families, of our communities, of humanity itself. So from atoms to cells, from tissues to teams, we're all energetically connected. One layer mirroring the energy of the next. Understanding this, we start to understand that every result, whether it's in the cell, in the body, or in the community, is this energy, this biofield that is condensed over space and time. Understanding that is bioenergetic intelligence. That is the key to understanding our individual and collective potential. Now, when we talk about human potential, I get to play in the sandbox of this pretty awesome science, which is actually a combination of two sciences, longevity medicine and performance medicine. And not only is the vision of the field to extend the human lifespan, but actually how we maintain, maybe even enhance our mental, physical, and Susan Bratton is here, sexual capabilities even as we age. We have certain futurists like Ray Kurzweil and Aubrey de Grey stating that in just a few short years, we'll reach something called longevity escape velocity. That's when technology, for every year we age, technology is going to give us back a year or more. That's pretty exciting. Stem cells, AI, precision medicine, regenerative medicine. Clearly, there are remarkable advances in what I call the science of longevity. But I wonder how many of us are forgetting about another important medicine, the art of living. You see, there's a paradox in the human potential space. That is, our ever-increasing scientific knowledge and technology has allowed us to push the human lifespan further than we ever thought possible. But in doing so, we create an eloquent problem that was described by the Dalai Lama when he said this: the paradox of our history is that we have taller buildings, but shorter tempers, wider freeways, but narrower viewpoints. We spend more, but have less. We buy more, but enjoy less. We have more conveniences, but less time. More medicine, but less wellness. We've learned how to make a living, but not a life. And we've added years to life, not life to years. You know, back at that hospital, I wasn't hoping for stem cells or some amazing tech. Just life. But this conversation is more about the chance at life. It's really about the choice to truly live. I've studied some of the world's longest lived populations, highest performing individuals and organizations, and it's through conscious choices that they use to activate the biology of human performance and longevity. So let's make the case in this conference that we're not just here to talk about extending life. without enjoying, enriching, and expanding on life itself. But what stops us? What stops us from reaching our human potential? Well, neuroscientists are beginning to learn more about a part of the brain called the default mode network. It's a very primitive part of our brain and nervous system. It is our autopilot survival mode of the brain. And when we are young, in fact, once we are fertilized, it starts downloading the energetic information around it. It remembers the traumas of our ancestors. It picks up things from media, our parents, teachers, coaches, everything around us. It makes sense of how the world works, where we fit in the world, but it's constantly looking for what can hurt us. It's intimately tied to our amygdala, our fear centers, and our hippocampus, our memory centers. And so it remembers our past traumas, disempowering stories and limiting beliefs of, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough. They live here. Because why? What does it fear most? Not being safe, loved, or connected. And so we might start adopting some behaviors to protect ourselves. People-pleasing, seeking success, narcissism, avoidance, aggression. We put on these layers of things that are not us. And it separates us from other people, but more importantly, separates us from who we truly are. And the problem is this default mode is programmed before the age of 10. And unless we are conscious of this, we are making choices from this unconscious, conditioned, autopilot survival mode of the brain. And so let me ask you, in what operating system do you think these choices were made? The wars in the Middle East and Ukraine, the attack on the Capitol. We have recent assassinations of many political figures, George Floyd and the subsequent riots. We had a virus impacting the entire globe called the China virus, leading to nearly 4,000 anti-Asian hate crimes. Kind of reminded me of my childhood. You see, I wasn't born here. I was born in post-war Vietnam. And when I was young, my parents were forced to flee with me on a refugee boat. In fact, I was the only infant to survive. We spent 8 months with 2,000 other refugees crammed in a boat like sardines. That one right there, the tongue on. We spent another 3 months in a Philippine refugee camp, and then we were sponsored to America by a Catholic church. And I remember growing up, I was constantly being teased for the holes in my hand-me-down clothes, for the smelly food my mom sent me to school with. Go back to your home country, Chinky. Why couldn't my parents afford the good clothes? Why did we have to live in that neighborhood? Why couldn't my parents speak English? Why me? Not good enough, not tall enough, not white enough, not American enough. That was my programming. And I made choices from that place. My drive to succeed, to have external validation, took over my life. I was trained at the National Institutes of Health, the Howard Hughes Medical Institute, triple board certified in medicine, become chief of interventional radiology in my hospital, thinking that as long as I got this thing called success, that I would be worthy of love. But underneath my white coat, I was sick. Bought the fancy car, bought the fancy house, yeah, but underneath my white coat, overweight, diabetic, had high blood pressure, on several prescription medications. I became the poster child of a famous Dalai Lama quote when he was asked what he found most interesting about humanity. He said, man, because he would sacrifice his health in order to make money, but sacrifice his money to recuperate his health. This is the result of living unconsciously from the default mode. And I was given a gift. That very same year I got the chronic disease diagnosis, I remember one day rounding in my hospital, feeling pretty sorry for myself. The nurse hands me the chart for the next patient, Dr. Vuu. 43-year-old male, terminal pancreatic cancer. Please drain 10 liters of fluid from his belly. And when I saw that chart, I tried to pull myself together to meet somebody worse off than me. Then I open the door, I walk in the door, and there he is, Ishmael. I remember him. Big eyes, bright smile, huge energy. Dr. Vuu, I can't wait for you to just drain this fluid from my belly because guess what? It's getting in the way of sexy time, if you know what I mean. That's it. Boom! He knocked me out of my state, woke me up. And I said, Ishmael, how are you so happy right now? He says, Dr. Vuu, didn't always used to be this way. I used to be stressed out. I used to be angry all the time. But after this, I realized the only choice I can truly make is how I choose to show up. And I choose to show up with love and positivity, man. That's it. Here's a guy who was about to die, reminding me about how to truly live, reminding me that no matter what life circumstances, the power of a choice is ours. After that incident, I started to make some new choices. I started to travel all over the world. I left full-time medicine, started to study with thought leaders and world experts in epigenetics, regenerative medicine, longevity medicine, studied with shamans. I've learned a new approach to life in medicine. But what did I learn most importantly? That how we live our life is medicine. New choices also brought me to the work of this man, Dan Buettner. You might recognize him from the book, The Blue Zones. Now, he and his team in the early 2000s traveled all around the world to see where people were living the longest, there was most high amount of concentrations of people living over 100. They found 5. They called them the Blue Zones. Now, their team and other people who have visited these areas said when you land there, you feel something different. Just from how people interact, you feel this energy. And he and his team tried to figure out, was it anything they were doing? And so they found some things that they thought were leading to longevity. These people moved naturally every single day. They had rituals to deal with stress. They didn't stuff themselves with food. They occasionally celebrated with wine. They all have a deep connection with others, with a tribe, with a community. And they all had purpose. Now, the people in the Blue Zones didn't seek out to be the longest lived people on the planet. This was just a byproduct of how they chose to live, but more importantly, who they chose to be. But how do our choices affect our biology and human potential? Well, when we start talking about optimized human potential, remember, our human body is an ecosystem and an energetically connected ecosystem. So for our body, this ecosystem to be optimized, it has to come from optimized systems. Those systems have to come from optimized organs. Those organs have to come from optimized tissues, and those tissues have to come from optimized cells. But how do these cells get optimized? Well, the science of epigenetics tells us this, that the fate of our cells isn't determined by the DNA that resides in it. The fate of our cells, its phenotype, its resilience, its longevity, its performance, is actually dictated by its energetic environment that helps modulate our gene expression. Can our choices dictate our cellular environment? This is the work of my book in Thrive State. And in fact, I'm going to be doing a book signing tomorrow at 1 p.m. at the Mitozen booth on the first floor. I'd love to meet you there. But all we do is we talk about these energetic states actually affect biology. Emotions of stress, worry, anxiety, fear, resentment actually shortens your telomeres. Those same negative energetic states also turn on a gene response pathway called this conserved transcriptional response to adversity. That's the stress danger signal. What happens in that case is we turn on inflammatory genes and we turn off immunity genes, and that environment ultimately causes disease in our body. There's also a landmark study back in 2018 coming out of Columbia where Dr. Martin Picard and Alyssa Eppel studied emotions and how it pertains to our mitochondrial health. And so emotions of stress, worry, anxiety, fear actually decrease mitochondrial efficiency. Whereas feeling connected, feeling love, feeling like you've got purpose actually increase mitochondrial efficiency. And the mitochondria, they're not just the powerhouses of our cells that make ATP. And when you're stressed, your ATP levels go down. But the mitochondria also directs how the ATP is being used in in our body. When you are stressed, you are sending out all your energy towards protection and healing, protection rather than for healing. And so the more I started to study the molecular biology of these energetics, I started to see the same things, the same patterns of things that most showed up. The choices that we make in life in these areas create a biofield, create a state. That state creates signals that then affects physical and non-physical messengers that ultimately talk to ourselves. So the choices that you make create this bioenergetic state, this biofield. And when you make choices that optimize your cellular health, the result is you have optimized cells leading to longevity and peak performance. When you make choices that diminish your cellular health, you have suboptimal cells leading to suboptimal tissues, leading to chronic symptoms and chronic disease. And so the power of choice is ours. I know a lot of you are taking pictures on the slides, and if you actually want those slides, add me on Instagram and go to my bio. The slides are actually right on there. Everything is energetically connected. When you make one new choice that elevates your state, all of a sudden it's easier to make another choice. The same thing goes in reverse. If you make one choice that bring down your energy, it's harder to make new choices. But let's now ask the question and go back to that default mode. How does the default mode cause disease in our body then? Well, let's use me as an example. I was living through this lens of I'm not worthy, I'm not enough. And so let me climb the ranks in my hospital. Let me get more patients. Let me increase my bank account and my paycheck. Poor spiritual state. Let me put this white coat on so that you could call me Dr. Vuu. Because I was here to show you who I am authentically and vulnerably. What do you think my emotions were? Stress, worry, anxiety, fear, which led me not to eat, sleep, move very well. And so the choices that I was making from that default mode state was creating a biofield. Which one was that? The stress and survive state. That was the signal I was giving to my cells. Chronic symptoms, chronic disease. But then the power of choice is ours. And after meeting Ishmael, I started to make some new choices. I started with how I ate, slept, moved. Started to notice a shift in my body. Started to feel better. Then I started to come to conferences just like this so I could connect with people. And I realized how we live our life is medicine. Let me share this. I felt like I had a purpose. I started to rewrite beliefs in my head. Started to realize that everything in life is actually happening for me, not to me. And that my biography actually dictates my biology. After making these new choices, I reversed my chronic disease in a very short period of time. That's what brings us back to this. The power of choice is ours. Like life will distract us. But even when it's hard, we have the power to choose. This reminds me of someone that I admire so much, Viktor Frankl. If you don't know who he is, he's a physician and Holocaust survivor. And in the concentration camps, he actually saw his mother and sister murdered. He saw his father being starved to death. He saw his friends and family members tortured. But he still had this to say, that between stimulus and response, there's a space. And in that space is our power to choose our response. And in our response lies our growth and freedom. We have the power to choose. And in order not to make choices from the default mode, I want to leave you this framework. Impact. This is a very powerful framework that you could use to stay conscious. What does it stand for? I am. Pause. Awareness. Choice. And take action. In order not to live from default, from survival, from fear mode, you need to first know who I am. And you are who you are after those two words, I am. But it's also who you are when you already know that you are safe, that you are loved, that you are connected. Not who you need to be because you don't feel safe, loved, or connected. Because when you start to know who you are, when life starts throwing shit at you, wars, paychecks not going through, loss of a relationship, and you get triggered, the next thing you do is you pause. You could do a brain tap session. Go out in nature. There's something I love to do, actually a MitoZen product, which is the meditation mist that allows me to truly ground. You could do that 4-7-8 breathing. And what you do when you notice these things coming at you, you pause. What did you do there? You created a little bit of space of that stimulus and what's happening inside your body. And when you create that space, I want you to act, which is A, have awareness. Completely feel it in your body. What does it feel like? Where is it in your body? Deeply feel that. Don't try to resist it. Is it bringing up that story of I'm not worthy, I'm not enough? Most likely it's coming from that default mode. Then you choose. Choose powerfully. You choose from your I am. Do you want to be joy? Do you want to be loving? Do you want to be connected? And then you immediately take action. Because once you choose, you put yourself in that energy of I want love, I want connection. You bring that energy into action by taking that action. You know, my fiance and I were about to get married, but it was a 5-year engagement, but we fought a lot. And this process right here saved where we are. Because when she came at me with just like stabbing the wounds of, I'm not worthy, you're not a man. Activating that wound of worth. I know she's hurt, which is why she's mentioning this as well. I choose to be loved. I choose to be connected. Honey, can we take 5 minutes and start over? You choose to respond rather than react. You choose to be curious rather than to judge. You choose to forgive rather than resent. You choose to serve rather than to take. And every time you make this new choice over old programming, you are rewiring your entire body and nervous system into the thrive state. And you're upgrading your operating system. This is what I live my life by. Every time I walk through a door, every time I have a conversation, I say impact. How do I want to show up? I particularly use this when I'm triggered. You know, back at that hospital. I was angry. I was pissed. I wanted to blame the doctors. I wanted to blame the hospital. Then I realized I'm getting triggered. Impact. Pause. 10 breaths. I have the awareness that I feel scared. I have the awareness that I feel helpless. Okay, I choose. I choose to believe that everything's happening for me, not to me. And I take action. I didn't even know what action to take, so I just said it out loud. How is this happening? And I swear to God, right when I asked that question, right in the ICU, the nurse says, Dr. Vuu, you want to hold your child? Like, oh, she's in the incubator. I can take her out? And I remember holding her in my arms. I'm looking down at her. She had a tube down her nose, a tube down her mouth, and she had IVs in her arms and her legs. And I just remember looking at her, thinking, she's absolutely perfect, health complication or not. And so worthy of love. Wow. Made me realize that each and every one of us who's been given this beautiful gift of life is worthy and is loved. Even me. And then right then, there was this wave of healing that just overcame my body, washing away that not enoughness that was lingering. Happening for me, not to. Here's an update. This is Kaya. She's 4.5 now. She's very happy, very healthy, and yeah, creating art. So, what if all of life is a gift? All the struggles, all the challenges, all the obstacles. What if it was just life with its love and infinite wisdom, just preparing us, molding us to become who we are so that we could become stronger, so that we could become more resilient? Because after that, I know more love. After that, I am able to feel more gratitude. My friends, living the unconscious default mode we know now in science has actually led to many physical health problems, including diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and cancer. Also, mental health issues of depression, of anxiety. And what I do in my work all over the world is to quiet down that default mode. And I want to share an experience, a little biohack experience where we can actually quiet down that mode. Now, before I do so, I just want to give you all a gift and say thank you. There's a digital version of me out now, and so you could feel free to ask me questions if I don't get to answer them here. There are also the lecture notes. Just add me on Instagram and get the free resources. But before we get to that next experience, if anyone's sitting alone, can you sit next to somebody right now? As in find a partner? Perfect. All right, so this is a very powerful technique that brings us into a state of hypoxic, hypercapnic state that actually squeezes down the blood vessels to the default mode to have you access different states. So before we do this, is there anybody with any cardiac, respiratory issues? Don't do the full breathing. But if you are fully healthy, I urge you to breathe very, very powerfully, because when you do, you'll have more of a physiological effect. All right? So if you have anything on your laps, go ahead and place them down on your ground. And I will demonstrate the breathing technique, and then I'll guide you. The breathing technique is going to be a belly, heart, out breath. And again, the bigger the breath you take, the more the physiological effect. It will go something like this. And then big out. Belly, heart, out. Okay? We're going to do about 10 to 15 of those. Then I'm going to have you take a deep breath in. I'm going to have you hold that breath. And just make sure you're planted there. Then I'll have you release that breath. And I'm going to have you hold again. If you feel like you need to breathe, hold another second or two and then take a little sip of air, okay? So that's basically the breathing technique. And everybody have a partner. Okay, good. Now, I also want you to think of something you need clarity in your life with, or something you're struggling with right now, okay? Something that you're struggling with, something you need clarity on, because this process will also help that. Okay, we ready? Go ahead. Close your eyes. Palms on your side, palms facing up. And let's breathe. Belly, heart, out. Belly, heart, out. Deep. Belly, heart, out. 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 5 more double speed. Belly, heart, out. 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 Deep breath in and hold at the top. Squeeze all the muscles in your body. Squeeze your leg muscles, your thigh muscles, your chest muscles. Squeeze your face muscle. Keep holding your breath. Have that energy shoot up your spine between your eyes. Hold there for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release with a sigh. And hold here for as long as you can. And right now, I want you to see if you can relax into the feeling of safety. Feel your feet on the ground. Feel the protection of the space. Feel your heart. Feel the beauty of your heart. Know that this heart beats, it's sending oxygen and nutrients, nourishing every single cell in your body. So I want you to feel that feeling of safety. And with your attention and intention, I want to see if you could increase that feeling of safety 3 times. Feel it. Enjoy it. All right, second round of breathing. Here we go. Belly, heart, out. 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 Double speed. Belly, heart, out. 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 5 more. Belly, heart, out. 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 Now deep breath in. Hold it at the top and squeeze every muscle in your body. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Hold that breath. Imagine energy from the bottom of your spine shoot all the way up between your eyes. Keep holding, keep squeezing. We're going to release in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. And hold there for as long as you can. And right now, I want you to feel love. Notice that you have this beating heart, but you didn't have to do anything to earn it. That you were loved so much to be given this gift of life. I want you to think of someone or something you love. A child, a parent, a friend, a pet. See if you could feel this feeling of love. This is what's inside you already. And with your attention and intention alone, see if you could amplify that feeling 5 times in your body. Feel love. That's it. Last round of breathing. Ready? Belly, heart, out. 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 Double speed. Belly, heart, out. 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 Deep breath in and hold at the top. Squeeze every single muscle in your body, from your thighs, from your buttocks. Squeeze your sex organs, squeeze your abdominals, your chest. Squeeze your face. Hold there for another 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release with a sigh. Now I want you to feel connected. See if you could sense the energy of your neighbor. I feel you guys. See if you could feel me. See if you could feel connected to something that's always got your back, who's always there for you. A love, a consciousness that is so strong. Feel connected to that. Now I want you to combine those feelings of safety, love, connection. Feel all those feelings rushing inside your body right now. Safety, love, connected. Safety, love, connected. This is who you are. Remember, you are safe, love, connected. I want you to take this energy. Go back to your childhood, to 3, to 5, to 7, to 10. Any version of yourself that didn't feel that. Tell that little boy, tell that little girl the truth. That's it. Now take yourselves 10 years from now. You are safe, you are loved, you are connected. Visualize that version of your life, how you choose to show up. Visualize how you're standing, how you're walking, what's your body like? What are you saying? What are people saying about you? What is the future like? Feel that energy. Now bring yourself back to the present moment. This is who you are, this energy. Take a deep breath in and bring this energy to your cells with a hum at the end. Ready and hum. Let that energy vibrate to every single cell, all the mitochondria, every strand of DNA into your body. And in a moment, I'm going to have you open your eyes and look at your partner. On a count of 5, open your eyes and look at your partner. 3, 4, 5. Share that energy with your partner. No words, no words. Just look at your partner. Share that energy. Intentionally just look at them, the beauty that they are. Share the energy of wanting the very best for this person. Look at them as if they were a masterpiece created for this world. Send them a blessing. Receive what it's like to feel that way and know what it's like when you share that love. My friends, the power of choice is ours. What would the world look like if more and more of us created a little bit of space and was conscious about how we were living our life? What if more and more of us were in the thrive state? Because after all, we are just individual cells, energetically connected to the body of our families, of our teams, of humanity itself. And when we make one choice to elevate our state, when we make the choice to elevate our vibration, it's not only felt by every single cell in our body, but other people feel it too. Your children, your loved ones, your neighbors, the world. You become the seed of a new blue zone. So make the choice that you want to see in the world. Most importantly, remember to create a beautiful masterpiece for life. That is the art of living. And that's the most powerful medicine you could do for yourself, for your families, and for humanity. Thank you.